Bob Picozzi and Doug Graber back in East Hartford, Connecticut, ready for the first UConn Temple meeting since 2004. Back deep to return the kickoff, Travis Shelton and Darrell Robinson. And the last three Temple UConn games, Doug, have began with the opening kickoff get run back for a touchdown. So why in the world did Randy Edsel, when he won the toss, elect to defer the choice in the second half?
I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing. If I am the UConn's kicker, Desi Cullen here, I am going to try to kick it away from number 22. You see him right there, Travis Shelton.
Shelton averaging only 18 yards per return this year. He had a game last year against Clemson where he returned 5 kicks for 205 yards. The 205 yards, a Temple single game record for return yardage. Cullen to kick off. His nickname's the Kentucky Hammer. It's because number 1, he's from Louisville. Number 2, he likes to get in on the action. Likes to go downfield and try to get involved. And we are underway. The forecast for today, it rained most of the morning in Connecticut, and we believe the rain is done for the day. However, the winds could gust up to as high as 30 miles an hour today. So you saw the ball blow off the tee once, now twice, and I imagine someone's going to have to hold it this time.
There we go.
And that could be a big factor, particularly in the kicking game.
Oh, absolutely. You do not want to have somebody put a finger on that ball to hold it. Cullen has been very, very good kicking off. He's put a lot, even though we're kicking from the 30-yard line now, remember, this year with the NCAA rule change, he's put a bunch of them in the end zone so far. He's got a strong leg.
So the wind may only be 7 miles per hour as of now, but we expect that to increase throughout the day. UConn 2-0, Temple 0-2, and we are underway. Temple left the Big East after 2004. It goes over Shelton's head. He misplayed that one in the wind. It will be a touchback, and the Owls will take over 1st and 10 at the 20. That nearly turned into a disaster for the Owls.
Well, the wind, Cullen was kicking with the wind, and that ball just kind of sailed at the last second.
So Shelton will come off the field. We expect to see him in action today at tailback on offense. You see, it looks like he's underneath him, went over his head. He looked like Delman Young of the Devil Rays trying to catch David Ortiz's home run the other night at Fenway Park. And by the way, he didn't catch it. There's Adam DeMichael, a transfer from Okaloosa Walton College in Florida. 1st and 10 Owls, very good passer. Last week did not get any time to throw in a disastrous one-sided loss to Buffalo. Handoff to Harper, and he gets nowhere. Harper's first start of his career at the tailback spot. Julius Williams made the stop after a 3-yard loss. The rest of that Temple offense, along with DeMichael. There you see Harper in the backfield with Schartzer. The wideouts Campbell and Crudup out of Connecticut. And the tight end is Kevin Armstrong. Up front, that Temple offensive line, by far the best player is the right tackle, 66, Andre Douglas. He's the best run blocker and the best pass blocker for Al Golden. One wide receiver to the left, the other to the right. I formation on 2nd down. Fakes the handoff, and he's being chased, and he's being sacked by Williams. It was nearly a safety. So how about the start for Julius Williams? A -3 on a run and a -16 on a pass. Let's do the rest of the UConn starting lineup, along with Williams up front, Lund, Davis, and their best defensive lineman, Cody Brown. We talked about him in the open. Lutris returned an interception for a touchdown 48 seconds into the game last week. And in the secondary, the best cover guy is Darius Butler, but Tyvon Branch has probably been UConn's best player in the secondary through the first 2 games this season.
Well, he really has, and you know, it's really kind of funny, that first sack right there with Julius Williams. He was a little bit upset because the Temple coach, all he was talking about was Cody Brown. He says, hey, I'm pretty good too.
And the Temple coach, Al Golden, has called a timeout. Let's face it, Al has his hands full. He inherited a program that went winless 2 years ago, and the losing streak eventually reached 20 before they beat Bowling Green last October. They've lost 5 more since then. And as he told me this week, he says, look, we're not a player-driven unit right now. We're like a Dow Jones team. Up, down, up, down. We're not looking for a quick fix. We want to fix this thing permanently. But it won't be easy.
No, it won't. And I'll tell you, so many young players on that offensive line, and that's what I saw when I looked at the tape. They really struggle in pass protection. The quarterback DeMichael, I really think, is really a good player, but he just doesn't get enough time to do much.
Temple has converted only 21% on third down this season through the first 2 weeks. Not many plays in the book for 3rd and 27 though. Here's the handoff to Griggs. He'll get him some room for the punter. Gets it out to about the 14-yard line. An 11-yard pickup. And for the first time today, we will see Jeff Watney in to punt, and he will be punting into the wind. And Larry Taylor, UConn's return man, is a very dangerous threat.
Well, I think the wind is really going to be a factor. It's really gusting, and we already saw that on the opening kickoff. And the punt returners are really going to have to be careful handling the football.
Watney averaging 42 yards per punt, 7th best in the Mid-American Conference. Temple is in its first year in the MAC. And you see the wind kind of knock that one down, and Taylor eventually will pick it up on his side of the 50. I think his knee hit the ground before he was touched by a Temple player. And UConn with great field position on its first possession from its own 49-yard line. And Tyler Lorenzen, the junior college transfer out of Palomar Junior College, will lead the team out of the huddle. Threw for 2 touchdowns and ran for a 3rd in last week's shutout victory over Maine. On first down, he has Cunyu wide to the left and DJ Hernandez, a former quarterback, to the right. There's Donald Brown. We expect to see number 34 get the ball a lot today, Doug.
Well, we really do. And you know, he's struggled a little bit so far in the first couple of games of the season. He's not making a lot of people miss like he did last year, but boy, he is strong. He really has good balance. He's a north and south runner.
Brown, second team All Big East performer, looking for his first 100-yard performance this season. Lorenzen rolls to his left. He is a southpaw. He throws, and all alone is Cunyu. He had 6 catches last week. And 1st and 10 for UConn at the Temple 32-yard line. Along with Lorenzen in that UConn lineup, told you all about Donald Brown. Anthony Davis is a blocker. He probably won't carry the ball. Jeffers is 4th in the Big East in receptions. Hernandez, the converted quarterback. Rouse, a very good receiving tight end. Up front, the best lineman is William Beatty. And because of an injury to Ryan, Hicks, who started last week at left guard, gets the start at right tackle today. Handoff Brown, bounces off one tackler, and he gets it to about the 27-yard line. Pick up a 5. The stop by Leon Azubuike, junior from East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. And the rest of that Temple defensive unit, along with Azubuike up front, a couple of Connecticut products, Terrence Knighton and Brian Sanford. Get you the rest of that defense following this Husky play. A lot of shifting done for UConn. Most of it to the right side of the line, and perhaps some illegal shifting because we get our first penalty flag of the day. Brown with the carry, but the line judge, Jeff Bauer, got an infraction, and we'll see what it is.
That was an illegal formation. The beating was at tight end.
6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
The rest of that Temple defense. The best linebacker so far for Al Golden has been Amara Kamara. He's been terrific, 11th in the MAC in tackles. And in the Temple secondary, Golden considers Tommy Williams his best cover guy and Dominique Harris his best run support defender. So UConn is backed up following the penalty to the Temple 33. Lorenzen low snap, looking, scrambling. Breaks one tackle attempt by Sanford and manages to turn it into about a 2-yard run.
You know, in talking to Coach Etzel yesterday, they really wanted Lorenzen to get a hit early in the game. But they think in both of the opening games, he struggled a little bit the first couple series until he got hit. He's just so amped up. And I tell you, I've seen a lot of quarterbacks that is an issue with. A lot of teams will run a bootleg or something early in the game to get him running and get him some contact.
UConn 38% on third downs this season. Lorenzen to throw on 3rd and 9, has his man for the first down. It's Hernandez, breaks a couple of tackles and gets it to the 13. We saw A little bit. In fact, we saw a lot of that opening day against Duke when he broke one for a 57-yard touchdown.
Yeah, you know, this young guy started at quarterback last year for this team and very unselfishly went to wide receiver in the spring. He's a fine athlete. He can really make people miss out there. Take a look at this right here. Now, watch the turf come up here right there, by the way. See it? There have been some issues with this field, and it's a concern today.
He did a lot of resodding during the week, but as we could see on that play, it is hardly an ideal condition. Here's Brown, little jitterbug, stutter step. Boy, he made the most of a little bit there, didn't he?
He really did. This the offensive line for UConn, you know, now all of last season, not one game did they start the same offensive line from week to week. And you know what? It's the same deal this year with the injury to Ryan and the injury to Lawrence Green. They've had a different starting offensive line in all 3 opening games of the season.
Green went out with a knee injury against Duke. He started at left guard. So they actually have 3 different starters at left guard in 3 games. Here's Brown up the middle, touchdown. That didn't take long at all.
Well, that was quite a burst there by Donald Brown. And the answer to the question, what can Brown do for you? There you go. That's a good start.
Donald Brown, second team All Big East last year as a freshman.
Just a simple isolation play and a very poor effort by number 21, Dominique Harris at safety for Temple.
In to attempt the extra point is Tony Chervino. He is 9 for 10 thus far this year. Desi Cullen, the punter, holds. And UConn draws first blood. Last week it took UConn only 48 seconds to get on the board against Maine. The defense scored first. But UConn, who has struggled early in the game on offense the first 2 weeks, did not struggle at all there. 7 plays, 51 yards. Donald Brown with an 8-yard touchdown. Temple is 114th in the country in rushing defense, and we're getting an illustration of why.
Well, right here, just a simple isolation play in a cutback lane. And, you know, in looking at the tape of Temple, they are not a very good tackling football team, which is typical when you're playing a lot of young kids like they're forced to play.
So once again, Desi Cullen will kick off, and back deep to return Travis Shelton and Darrell Robinson. Let's see if it heads Shelton's way, if he does a little better job of handling the wind than he did on the opening kickoff.
I was surprised that they opened the game and kicked off to Shelton.
This time Shelton goes way over to the other side in order to get an opportunity, and he does.
He has a lane.
Up the sideline. And finally steps out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. So we have a pretty good look there at why Shelton was so effective a year ago at returning kicks. There is a flag on the play. It almost always means an illegal block. And it will. That's the UConn scoring drive. Donald Brown taking it in, and there's no question, Doug, that Randy Edsall wants to get Brown more involved. Through 2 weeks, Randy said the biggest shortcoming he can see on offense is we're not running the ball. To my satisfaction, we have not been physical enough.
No, that's really true. And, you know, Lorenzen has thrown the ball very well. But I would agree with Randy with this offensive line that they have. Now, of course, they've had some injury problems with it. But they need to run the ball much more effectively.
So Temple starting off with very poor field position at its own 12. It was a 36-yard run back, but compromised by the holding penalty. DeMichael rolls left, looks, fires, has his man Crudup for the first down. Dion Crudup, one of 8 Connecticut products on this team out of the Hyde Leadership School in New Haven.
You know, and the quarterback, DeMichael, is really an interesting story. Of course, signed with Penn State out of high school in 04, drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays. You know, signed and played baseball, then went to a junior college, then came back to Temple as a quarterback. And when he has time, he is outstanding, very, very accurate. And that's why you're going to see so much play action from them today, because it's easier to protect.
Taking up football after a couple years of playing baseball, as Coach Al Golden says, I call him our Roy Hobbs. DeMichael rolls and then just throws the ball into the turf to avoid the sack. Now that hit the ground.
Yeah, the officials have that.
The crowd sees Cody Brown running in the end zone with it, but what the crowd didn't see was the ball hit the ground.
And you give a defensive lineman an opportunity to run with the football, and they are going to take it.
He scooped that up like Omar Vizquel, didn't he? So it's an incomplete pass, but Cody Brown, number 50, will probably spend a lot of time in that Temple backfield.
Yeah, and that was a screen, and it was well covered, and a nice play by DeMichael, just throwing the ball away. And here we see Cody Brown of What Can Brown Do For You?
Looked like volleyball there. So it will result in a 2nd and 10 and an I formation for the Owls, who spent 14 seasons in the Big East without a whole lot of success. They finished dead last 6 times in those 14 years. DeMichael, handoff Harper. Good hole up the middle. He's got the first down. Eventually brought down by Dana Delliston, the strong safety, at about the 46-yard line with an assist from Darius Butler.
You know, Bob, and looking at this Temple offensive line on tape, you know, they're athletic. I mean, they have good athletes in the offensive line. That's a nice job there, blocking number 65 Lund and opening that cutback. The problem is pass protection is harder to learn than run blocking.
18-yard pickup for Harper. He'll get the ball again. This time tries the other side before he's stopped by Lawrence Wilson, who's getting his 3rd straight start at the outside linebacker spot because of an injury to Ryan Hennigan, and he's really taken advantage of his playing opportunity.
He has played extremely well. He's leading the team in tackles, and you know what? If I were Ryan Hennigan, I would get back on the field as quickly as I could.
Harper, a sophomore from Bud Lake, New Jersey, missed 2.5 weeks in the preseason because of a hamstring injury, so didn't have a whole lot of reps before the opening day loss to Navy. He's the lone setback, and he gets the ball again. This time we'll get it to just outside the UConn 45. Wilson with the stop again. He had 10 of them on opening day against Duke. Last week, Doug, the Temple team just struggled so mightily. Rushed for only 36 yards against Buffalo. They're 116th in the country in rushing offense.
Well, you know what? And UConn is 9th in the country in rushing defense, and Temple is running the football very, very well early in this game.
This time they go with that wishbone look in the backfield. And the handoff for the first down goes to Lamar McPherson, a linebacker.
You know, George DeLeon, of course, is the offensive coordinator at Temple. Veteran offensive coordinator, long time at Syracuse. He was at UConn here at one point, Rutgers, and he is very creative at using his personnel. I saw wide receivers playing running back. I saw wide receivers playing fullback. He moves them around.
UConn graduate is George DeLeon, class of 1970 out of Fairfield High School. Here's the handoff, Harper. Nice cutback. There's a fumble, and it'll be UConn ball. So Harper lost the football in the secondary. And it looks like coming away with it is Wilson. So Lawrence Wilson making his presence felt early in this one.
Yeah, let's take a look at it now. There's the hit right there. That was Delliston, the safety, that made that hit and caused the fumble, I believe. Right there. Yes, it is. And that's a big, huge play. And I tell you, Randy Edsel is not going to be happy with that UConn run defense.
6th fumble loss by the Owls this year. Quick pitch and a tough toss, catch on the perimeter by Larry Taylor. You like to get him in space in football jargon. They did that time, and it results in a big gain.
You know, these flares are not easy throws, and Tyler Lorenzen throws those flares as good as anybody I've seen. He really gives the running back a chance to get the football in stride and make a move. He's very, very accurate with these. Take a look, right on the money, catches it right in stride. That's huge.
Nice block by the wideout Hernandez, huh?
Yes, sir.
Put his man on the ground. 1st and 10, Huskies at the 47. Shotgun, Lorenzen, nice pickup on the blitz by Donald Brown. And the catch will be made by the tight end Browse at the Temple 45-yard line. 7-yard pickup.
Well, Tyler Lorenzen, interesting story. Went to Iowa State as a freshman quarterback, was moved to wide receiver, transferred to Palomar Junior College in California, came to UConn last spring. He's 18th in the NCAA in passing efficiency. He's been a great story for UConn so far this year.
2nd down and 3. Lorenzen to Brown, right side, and he will be driven for a loss. McPherson got in there, and so did Terrence Knighton, another one of those Connecticut products out of Windsor High School, also prepped at Milford Academy, the one that's in New York, not in Milford, Connecticut. And Knighton was very candid this week. He was disappointed and downright a little bitter that he was not recruited by the state university, the one at UConn, and he very much looking forward to playing in his home state today. Made a big play there.
Sure did.
So it'll be 3rd down and 4 for the Huskies. UConn a perfect 1-for-1 on 3rd down early in the game. Lorenzen to throw as all day, make it 2 for 2. Hernandez with his 2nd catch all the way to the 30. Dominique Harris with the stop.
Tyler Lorenzen, his #1 trait as a quarterback, and take a look at it right here. He is extremely accurate. That's the most important. Look at that. That is another throw. Hit him right on the run perfectly, right between the 1 and the 4. And that, and of course, DJ Hernandez, you know, he was a pretty good quarterback himself. But I'll tell you what, I think he's really going to be a better wide receiver.
Started 4 games in the last 2 seasons. Lorenzen a perfect 3 for 3 today. 1st and 10 Huskies. Lorenzen to throw again. Looks left, and he is sacked by Sanford, another Connecticut product. Out of Hartford Public High School and the Westminster School, the 6'2", 255-pound sophomore with his first sack of the year.
Boy, you know, take a look. Watch Donald Brown right there. He misses that block badly. He went low on him, and that's the problem with a running back. When you go low on a guy like Sanford, they're good enough athletes to get right over the top. And of course, that was into the blind side of Tyler Lorenzen.
Sanford, one of 3 Hartford Public products on this Temple team. The other 2 are the Joseph twins. Lorenzen to throw, overthrows. Hernandez was open down at the 15-yard line.
Had him open, just got a little excited. Right, you know, the ball just kind of sailed on him. And again, remember, the wind is behind UConn, and that ball definitely sailed. And that was against cover 2. He had him open, had a chance right there.
And because the wind is behind him, let's see what Randy Edsall will do on 3rd and 19. Looks like they're going to go for it. Otherwise, you're looking at a 57-yard field goal or a punt that would have a pretty good chance of going into the end zone.
Yep. 3rd down here.
2 wide receivers to the right. Lorenzen fakes the handoff. Now on the screen to the left of Brown. He has Beatty in front of him, but he will be stopped way short of the 1st down. Good job by the Temple defense.
Really a good job, but they did get in field goal range, especially with the wind behind them. That was the whole purpose of that play.
John Haley made the stop after an 11-yard pickup. So Temple takes over on downs. The Owls on opening day against Navy, a very respectable effort, losing 30-19. And as Al Golden said, well, that was 25 points better than we did a year ago. So now on 4th down, the field goal attempt by Churavino. It'll be a 47-yarder. He got it.
Well, despite the field goal, that still was a pretty good defensive series for Temple.
Tony Churavino, the junior from Boca Raton, Florida, now 5 for 7 in field goal attempts this year. That was his longest of the season. Picozzi and Doug Graber back at Rentschler Field in East Hartford, Connecticut. Tyler Lorenzen was 4 for 5 for 54 yards on that last drive. But the sack really torpedoed the drive for Randy Edsall's club, and they had to settle for the field goal.
Well, they did, and not the kind of drive that Coach Edsall wants to have. They would much rather run the football, too much throwing. I know that's exactly what he's telling offensive coordinator Rob Ambrose.
Cullen to kick off, back deep, Shelton and Robinson. Shelton returned the last one 36 yards, but there was a penalty on the play, and Shelton will get another opportunity. Breaks a couple of tackles, still on the loose. And finally driven out of bounds by the Kentucky Hammer. Desi Cullen, the kickoff man, made the stop. UConn is 2-0 for the 4th time in the last 5 years. They have not been 3-0 since 1999. They got a good start, 10-0. They lead Temple. July, he wasn't in a very dandy mood last weekend.
Well, he sure wasn't. Felt they played very, very poorly against Buffalo in the second game of the season. Played pretty tough against Navy in the opener. They came back and scrimmaged on Sunday night. He was not pleased at all.
Very busy weekend for the Owls. A game on Saturday and a scrimmage on Sunday. Here's the handoff. Shelton seeing his first action out of the backfield as a tailback, and he may have picked up 10 yards on the play.
Well, this is all very, very surprising to me. One, the Temple's been able to run the ball as effectively as they have. Remember, UConn is 9th in the country in rushing defense, averaging 1.3 a carry, and I'll tell you what, they're just flat blocking them up front.
And against Navy, Shelton had 3 carries for 37 yards, and those 37 yards represent the highest single-game rushing performance by a Temple player this season. That's how ineffective the run game has been. Quick toss to the right into the hands of the wideout Bruce Francis, makes the catch. Stop made on the perimeter by Danny Lansana. The UConn fans are delighted to see him on the field today because he injured his ankle last week against Maine, and no one was quite sure at that point whether he would be able to play today.
Well, that was really an ugly looking injury on the tape, and frankly, I was amazed that he was able to come back and play this week.
Lansana entering the day 2nd in the Big East and 7th in the country in tackles for loss with 4.5. 2nd down and 3 for the Owls. Shelton, the lone setback, 2 tight end look. And here's Shelton on the cutback. Breaks 1 tackle. Dan Davis stood him up at the 45. So it looks like they'll need maybe just a little under 2 yards here on 3rd down.
Of course, Dan Davis moved from defensive end to defensive tackle this year, captain out of Plainfield, New Jersey.
Nicknamed Danimal, took up karate in the offseason to try to improve his agility, quickness. So 3rd down for Temple. Thus far today, the Owls are 1 of 2 on 3rd downs. They go with the 2 tight end look and the wishbone look in the backfield. Remember last time they handed to McPherson, the linebacker, and they do it again. And I think he's got the 1st down. Looks like the favorable spot will be just beyond that chain.
You know, Bob, and that wishbone in short yardage, that is a classic George DeLeon, the offensive coordinator here for Al Golden. We saw this at Syracuse for years when he was there. Just a little cross buck and a nice job of the linebacker running the football.
And McPherson, by the way, began his college career at Syracuse. He's from Philadelphia, transferred to the hometown University of Temple. No relation to former Syracuse coach Dick McPherson, who was the head coach when both Randy Edsall and George DeLeon were on the staff together for 5 years. DeMichael, right side Shelton, thrown for a loss. Great penetration by Tyvon Branch, senior from Cicero, New York.
Excellent support by the corner. They were in a cover 2 with that corner up tight to the line of scrimmage. Beat the block of the wide receiver right there, all over.
About a 5-yard loss. Randy Edsall considers Branch his best run support performer in that secondary. So it'll be 2nd down and about 14.5. 10-0 UConn. This could be the final play of the 1st quarter. Long count by DeMichael. Play clock down to 3. On the keeper, spins and is knocked down by Lansana on the final play of the 1st quarter. Well, UConn began the day, Doug, not giving up a point in the last 100 minutes and 42 seconds. You can add another 15 minutes to that total. The Huskies seeking their first 3-0 start in 9 years on a touchdown run by Donald Brown and a 47-yard field goal by Tony Chervino, and they lead Temple, their former Big East brethren, 10-0 after 1. back in East Hartford, Connecticut, all set for the start of the second quarter. 10-0 UConn. And in the first quarter, Doug, Temple surprised a little bit with their ability to run the ball.
Absolutely shocking me. Temple is averaging 3.5 per attempt. UConn is only averaging 2.1. That is totally reversed. I think that Al Golden has gotten a message to his football team. We need to be tougher running the football and stopping the run.
3rd and 14 to begin the quarter. 2 for 3 on third downs today for the Owls. DeMichael looking, rolling right, being chased. And he'll be pushed out of bounds by Lawrence Wilson. Excellent job by the UConn secondary. DeMichael looked and there was nothing there.
Yeah, a great job on the scramble. Everybody had all the lanes filled in the scramble in the secondary. No place to go with the football. And a wise decision by DeMichael to just put it down and get out of bounds. Yeah, take a look at it. See the scramble right here now. And again, down the field, there absolutely was nobody really open. Nice job.
So Watney into punt. His first one into the wind was 38 yards. This one will be with the wind at his back. That was the only punt of the game so far. Larry Taylor back at his own 10. High snap from center. And Taylor will get a chance from his own 15. Ran into his own man, Robert McLean. And then runs into a bunch of guys in the white shirts. So UConn will take over at its own 22-yard lines, up 10-0.
Yeah, you know, we've talked a lot about Travis Shelton as a return guy, but Larry Taylor for UConn is a pretty dynamic return guy as well.
Well, he returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown the last time these two teams met, which, by the way, was back in 2004. It was here at Rentschler Field. He also returned a punt for a touchdown in the final game that season in the Motor City Bowl. UConn's win over Toledo. Tyler Lorenzen on first down. He's being chased and he's going to be sacked. Neblett got the first pressure with a big assist from Terrence Knighton. The 2 tackles, collapsing the pocket.
And that was Alex LaMagdalene that got beat right there. Now he's been forced into duty with some of the injuries, although he's had plenty of experience. He's been a starter. But the offensive line for UConn has been off to a rough start. Offensive line coach Mike Foley will not be pleased with these 2 sacks early.
So that was a loss on the play. Sack inside the 20. Quick toss to the tight end Browse, his second catch of the day. Stopped at around the 20-yard line. Bringing up a 3rd and 12, only a 2-yard pickup. The stop made by Jamal Schulters, freshman out of Brooklyn, New York. Al Golden expected 18 true freshmen to see action today. He says that more than half of his team is comprised of either walk-ons or former walk-ons who since have been awarded scholarships.
Well, he's got to play well right now, I got to tell you that.
UConn 2 of 3 on third downs today. Lorenzen throws, has his man across the middle, Brad Cunyu. Cunyu 9th in the Big East in receiving yards entering today following a big 6th reception effort last Saturday against Maine.
Yeah, Cunyu, of course, was a great high school running back, played as a true freshman at wide receiver, and now this year he really understands what being a wide receiver is. See him sit right down there in that zone, found the soft spot, and Lorenzen delivered right on the money.
And talk about delivering. Lorenzen has delivered 8 of 9 today for 109 yards. Now we get a penalty.
Substitution on the offense. 12 men in the huddle. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Can't do that as we hear the call from referee Tom McCabe.
Yeah, and there goes the culprit. That was Anthony Davis, the fullback. Some kind of a miscommunication on the personnel that they wanted on the field.
DJ Hernandez returns, replacing the fullback Anthony Sherman. So we've seen 2 fullbacks leave the field in the last few seconds.
That's kind of embarrassing when you have to run off the field and everybody knows why. You're not supposed to be out there.
Lorenzen on the draw.
You know, this is a totally different Temple defense that I'm seeing today than the one I looked at on tape yesterday against Buffalo. They are running to the football. They're flying. They're getting there in a nasty disposition. They're beating blocks. This is not the same defense I saw against Buffalo last Saturday.
That was Lou Allen with his first carry of the day, losing 2 yards. So it'll be second down and about 16. Lorenzen gets plenty of time, and across the middle, wide open for the catch is Jeffers. His 13th catch of the year. He is 4th in the Big East in that category. 18-yard pickup.
You know, and Bob, I just counted. There were 9 Temple players in on this play right here. Just watch them run to the football. Now, nice job of protecting here and a good job of finding the soft spot in the zone. But watch the pursuit by Temple.
Randy Edsall told me this week, Terrence Jeffers has the ability to be a good possession receiver, but we need him to become more consistent. Had 2 touchdown catches last week in the win over Maine. Lorenzen pitch right. Donald Brown, and talk about staying at home. How about the way the left side defensive end Leon Azubuike, number 93, played that one?
Yeah, he's the most impressive defensive lineman to me for Temple. Interesting story out of East Stroudsburg. Captain, take a look at him right here. This young guy, his dad was a soldier in the Nigerian army when he was 15 years old, came to this country, and got a doctorate.
And Leon trained as a boxer in addition to being a football player. Lorenzen, this time the pocket collapses again. He takes off. He's very good at ad-libbing. And he is run down from behind on the play by Omara Kamara, who is the leading tackler on this Temple team.
Yeah, and going back to Azubuike right here, out of East Stroudsburg, 3rd position in 3 years, a linebacker, tight end, now to defensive end. And I tell you, his folks, boy, they had some tough times in Nigeria, came to this country. Boy, you got to give them a lot of credit.
Here comes Temple on the blitz on 3rd down. Lorenzen got hit right after he released the ball. The pass was overthrown, and Temple will force UConn to punt for the first time today. And Lorenzen gets up a little gingerly.
Yeah, he's definitely limping a little bit coming off. Looks like that maybe the left leg. He took a heck of a shot right there. The blitz adjustment just didn't happen fast enough. Unblocked, all over him. No chance. That was John Haley.
So Desi Cullen, who's averaging 38 yards per punt, 5th in the Big East, is in to punt now. Back deep to receive Darrell Robinson, a dynamic true freshman right out of Temple's backyard, out of Northeast Catholic High School in Philadelphia. 25-yard punt. So the Temple defense showing a quantum improvement over last week's performance against Buffalo. Now the Owls will try to get some points on the board on offense. In East Hartford, Connecticut, much of the talk throughout the week here in Connecticut was the condition of the field, which frankly was rather deplorable last Saturday against Maine.
It really was. There were huge gashes coming up in the field all night long. It looks like it's hanging in there a little bit better. They've resodded definitely a portion of this field for this game.
There seems to be somewhat of a disagreement over what may have caused it. It has been suggested maybe a herbicide does. UConn does not maintain the field. There's a company that has a contract to do so. Randy Edsall said, look, we're not the landlord. I'm just a tenant. But I think the long-range solution is field turf. On 1st down, Temple, handoff Harper. He is tripped up in the backfield by Cody Brown. And Al Golden said this week, Cody Brown is strong, stays at home on the run, can rush the passer. I'm not that familiar with the Big East. Can there be any better defensive ends in that conference than him?
Well, strong is an understatement. He benches 425. But you know what? If I'm Al Golden, I'm really encouraged the way my offensive line is coming off the football and the way my defensive line is attacking.
2nd down 11. In motion, the fullback Bundy, the only scholarship senior on this trip. Toss, Harper. Not much there. Lansana and Wilson made the stop at the 25-yard line, a 1-yard pickup, so it will be 3rd down and 10 for the Owls.
Well, you know, now that last play is the first time that I've seen UConn really fly into the football, and I just think in the first quarter here they just kind of came out with the doldrums a little bit. You know, and I have to be honest, when you looked at Temple against Buffalo last week, they were not very impressive, but UConn is playing a different team here today.
Temple 2 for 4 on third downs. One tight end to the right, wide receivers to each side. DeMichael to throw. Lansana was picked up on the blitz. DeMichael rolls right, and he will be knocked out of bounds. We might get a late hit there. Nope, no flag.
I don't think so. I mean, you know, he was trying to get the first down. Even though he's a quarterback, he's still running and trying to advance the football. And you have to give the UConn players an opportunity. Take a look at it right here. He's on the sideline, but he's still trying to gain yardage. Yep, that's definitely should not be a penalty in my opinion. All
right, Marcus Campbell made the stop. Freshman out of Bloomfield, Connecticut. Because of an injury to Lindsey Witten, Campbell has moved up to the number 2 spot. He's actually the first reserve at defensive end today. Averaging 38 yards per punt so far today. Watney. Taylor will get a chance to return this one. Breaks a tackle. Gets outside. And is finally going to be spun down at about the 49-yard line by Morris Bluford. So the Huskies will have excellent field position. However, there's a penalty flag on the field. 19-yard return by Taylor.
The initial block that got him loose was a block in the back.
10-yard penalty, first down.
So that will push the Huskies back. Larry Taylor, one of only 4 players in UConn history who have returned both a punt and a kickoff for a touchdown, and he's one of only 2 players who did it in the same season. He did it back in 2004 when Randy Edsall's club won the Motor City Bowl. Larry Taylor, one of the most dynamic return men in the history of UConn. The Huskies scored on their first possession, but they haven't gotten into the end zone since. Afternoon here in East Hartford, Connecticut. This is the 5th year that Rentschler Field has been the home of the UConn Huskies. I'm Bob Picozzi along with Doug Graber. Glad you've joined us for Big East football, one of 2 Big East versus Mid-American Conference matchups today. The other one's Cincinnati and Miami of Ohio, and UConn leads Temple 10-0. And so far today, Doug, UConn has outpassed Temple, outgained them in the air, 127 yards to 23 yards. But Temple has outgained UConn on the ground, and this is shocking, 54 yards to 5.
Yeah, shocking is the right word. And the issue with UConn, you know, this is a running football team, and Randy Edsall, I know, has had some spirited discussions with that offensive line. And fellas, look, we are a running football team. Let's start coming off the football and making something happen.
UConn 4th in the Big East in rushing. Entering today, handoff Brown. Nice hole up the middle. Gets it out to about the 39-yard line. Or 34-yard line, rather. Pickup of about 7 on the play. The Huskies, prior to that play, Doug, were averaging 1/2 yard per rushing attempt.
That is absolutely incredible. You know, they were averaging 5.8 coming into this game.
And Temple was giving up 292 yards per game on the ground entering today. Lorenzen play fake. Rolls right, throws right. Incomplete. A couple of receivers were in the vicinity. That's never a good idea. Kunyu and Taylor. So it will be 3rd down and 3 for the Huskies.
Well, you just have to give a lot of credit to Temple. I mean, they are playing. This is a different Temple defense and offense than we saw last week against Buffalo. They really were embarrassed at home, and Al Golden was in particular embarrassed with that performance. And they've had a tough week in preparation for this game.
UConn 3 of 5 on 3rd downs today. 5-man rush, and Lorenzen hit as he throws, gets it off to Hernandez, makes the catch, and has the first down. Hernandez has turned into a genuine threat when he makes the catch and is in the open field.
Well, you know, as a former quarterback, I mean, he has a great feel for this offense, and that is a huge advantage. He understands what they're trying to do, and watch Lorenzen get rid of that football and get hit, and that was another poor block by Mr. Brown, the running back.
Shaquan Jarrett made the stop. First and 10, UConn at its own 49-yard line. They lead at 10-0. Handoff Brown. Huge hole. Off left tackle. Breaks another tackle. Finally driven out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Pickup of 15 yards for Donald Brown, the sophomore from Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey.
Well, he's extremely strong. You know, he deadlifts 640 pounds. He's got tremendous leg strength. He's got speed. He's got leg strength. Nice little stiff arm right there. Strong, physical running back, 213 pounds.
8 carries for 38 yards for Brown, and here's his 9th carry, but nothing happening there. And Al Golden very familiar with Donald Brown. When Al was an assistant under Joe Paterno at Penn State, he recruited Donald Brown. They went to the same high school, not at the same time, of course, Red Bank Catholic High School. And one of Al's brothers and one of Donald's uncles are very good friends. And he said, in fact, this summer, because of that relationship, Donald was over Al's house visiting, and they joked about how, well, I can't talk to you because we're playing you guys next season. But Al's a big admirer of Donald Brown. Lorenzen looks left, throws in and out of the hands of the tight end Browse. Should have made that catch.
Yeah, he really should have made it, but that's about the first throw that we've seen Lorenzen make where it wasn't right on the money. He did have to reach back and turn back to make the catch and just wasn't able to hold on. Take a look at it right here. Yeah, see how he had to reach back right there. Still, that ball should have been caught, though.
Lorenzen is 10 of 14. UConn is 4 of 6 on 3rd downs, and here's 3rd and 11. See if Temple comes on the blitz. Yes, they do, and they got him. The first hit was made by Junior Gillette, and then Neblett finished them off. Gillette, according to Al Golden, is his best pass rushing defensive lineman. There he is, the sophomore from Spring Valley, New York.
Yeah, and of course, you know, we've been talking about Al Golden in Penn State. His teammate when he was at Penn State was Mark D'Onofrio, defensive coordinator. Again, you got a free agent totally unblocked.
Cullen, 26 yards on his first punt. This is his 2nd effort of the day. Robinson back deep to return. Fair catch, and he dropped the ball. Temple avoids disaster by recovering it.
I think it was Travis Shelton, I think.
It was.
It was Travis Shelton, really heads up on that particular play.
Yeah, there were several blue shirts in the neighborhood, but Robinson flat out dropped it. This could have been a disaster, giving the ball up that close to your own goal line.
Yeah, and of course, you know, that the swirling wind that we mentioned earlier, it's going to be a problem for the punt returners today, and it certainly was right there.
Robinson, a young man who scored 27 touchdowns last year as a high school senior, 7 of them returning kickoffs or punts or interceptions. DeMichael, play fake, rolls left, throws left, and he has his man Bruce Francis for the first down.
Boy, when he has time, he is a fine athlete. He's very accurate. And the reason for all the play action, they have so much trouble drop back protecting up front. And it's always easier to pass protect and play action. Very athletic. Nice job of getting his hips and shoulders turned when he was going to his left.
1st and 10 Owls at the 31-yard line. Handoff, Harper. Nothing happening there. In fact, he lost 3 yards in the play.
Yeah, Dan Davis had great penetration. They ran the corner blitz. Tyvon Branch was coming from the short side of the field. No chance on that particular play.
There's a look at Cody Brown, who entered the game for Randy Edsel, 2nd in the Big East in sacks and 3rd in tackles for loss. Last year, Brown missed half the season with a shoulder injury. 2 tight ends for the Owls. DeMichael throws right. Oh, overthrew Francis, who nearly made a circus catch.
First miscue. First, you can see he's upset with himself right there. First miscue by DeMichael. He had him. They caught him in man-to-man. He had a chance to make a play, and he just got a little bit antsy in a high throw.
Owls 2 of 5 on 3rd downs. This one will be 3rd and 13. Temple entered the ball game averaging only 13 points per game, 109th in the country. They had only 7 last week against Buffalo in their Mid-American Conference opener. Crowd trying to encourage the UConn defense. That ball was misthrown, a little bit off line, intended for wide receiver Mike Campbell. And now in to punt the ball will be Watney.
Yeah, that was Tyvon Branch at corner, and they misread the coverage. They thought it was a 3 deep zone, not so fast. It was cover 2. The corner was sitting right there. They're very, very fortunate that wasn't picked off, and of course that would have gone the distance the other way.
Watney averaging 40.7 yards per punt. Larry Taylor back at his own 27 to return. Inside the 5-minute mark. Second quarter, 10-0 UConn. And Taylor will definitely have a chance. Beautiful kick.
Punting with the wind.
Drove him back to the 15-yard line. And he'll return it to around the 26-yard line. And from there, UConn will take over. The Huskies have won their last 8 games against teams from the Mid-American Conference. Haven't lost since Ball State in 2002. They lead Temple to the MAC 10-0. Because and Doug Graber back in East Hartford. Doug, I lost my schedule. You don't happen to know who UConn plays next week, do you?
Well, I do know, as a matter of fact, and the problem is I think the UConn players know. They've got Pitt at Pitt next week in a huge Big East game, and no question in my mind, a little bit of looking ahead right here by UConn.
Big East opener for the Huskies for both teams. UConn's only Big East win last year was over Pitt. A double overtime thriller right here. Lorenzen, play fake to throw. Neblett with another sack. That's the 3rd sack of the afternoon already for the Owls.
This is truly amazing to me. You know, and again, let's give Temple all the credit. You know, they played so poorly last week. Now Golden got their attention. Look at this here. He simply beats the guard easily on that particular play. And boom, down he goes.
Neblett, a sophomore from Broadway, New Jersey, has done some coaching in Pop Warner football. He could coach the art of rushing the passer. Got 2 sacks today. Pass across the middle, a little bit overthrown, intended for Brous. So it will be 3rd down for UConn and 20.
Listen to this stat. UConn is averaging 1.3 per rush so far, well into the second quarter. They've been averaging 5.8 per rush for the season.
Huskies on 3rd down today are 4 of 7, but this is 3rd and 20. Don't want to get too ambitious this close to the goal line, particularly into the wind. So the screen pass, and it's dropped by Brown. All over it was Azubuike.
Yeah, even if that had been complete, I mean, Azubuike read it beautifully, and that, in fact, would have been a loss.
So the Huskies will be in to punt. Cullen has averaged 27 yards on his 2 punts today. Last year, UConn, when it came to rushing, averaged 182 yards per game, 3rd best in the Big East. Here's the punt. Fair catch called by Robinson. Does a much better job of corralling this one. So good field position for Temple. But so far, the biggest surprise of the day, Doug, has been the play of the Owls defense.
No question about that. And, they have been all over Lorenzen. They've had trouble blocking him on the pass and on the run. And this is fun to see because all these young guys, you know, that they got embarrassed last week. Their head coach was really upset with them, and they have come back and played with a vengeance today.
42-yard punt by Cullen. 2 tight ends for the Owls on 1st and 10 from their own 41. Fakes the handoff. DeMichael rolls right, throws on the run. Did he catch it?
Absolutely.
Kept his feet in bounds. Nice catch by Crudup, the sophomore from New Haven. He had 4 catches for 32 yards on opening day against Navy.
And again, a nice game plan by George DeLeon. Nothing but play action on 1st and 10. Nice job of getting that left foot down in bounds.
Temple in the preseason coaches poll was picked to finish 6th in the 7-team East Division in the Mid-American Conference. It's their first year in the MAC. They lost their opener to Buffalo last week. They will play at Bowling Green next week. And Bowling Green is the only team that Temple defeated last year in Al Golden's first year.
Yeah, now they're having a review of this play, but I thought pretty clearly got that foot down in bounds. Remember, there has to be, without question, evidence that he did not, and I don't think that they're going to get it based on. Let's take a look at that shot. Yep.
Question was, did that first foot, was it in contact with the sideline stripe?
Watch the left foot right here. Ooh, that's close. That is very, very close. And of course, the replay officials are right next to us in the booth, and they're the ones that have to make that call. And it is close.
There's a look at Al Golden, who inherited a team which did not win a game 2 years ago. He told me, look, we want to win a MAC championship. There are 4 major cities within 2 hours of our campus. One of them, of course, Philadelphia. The other is New York, Baltimore, Washington. And we think this should give us a distinct recruiting advantage in our league. Doug, of course, you grew up in the Midwest, so you know all about the Mid-American Conference. And with the exception of Buffalo and Temple, all those other schools are congested in just a couple of states.
Yeah, they are. And of course, I think the MAC is a great fit for Temple. You know, again, they don't have to recruit against a lot of other MAC schools. Of course, they're certainly recruiting against Rutgers and UConn and everybody else. But now let's take a look at this again. Was the left foot on the white? Can't tell. I really can't tell from that view. And you know, if I were betting, I think they're going to. Wow, I mean that is within the millimeters. And remember, it has to be indisputable evidence to overturn the call. It was ruled complete on the field. Now they try to get all these replays done and decided within 3 minutes. He's got the call now on the field. Yep, there goes the headset. So let's see what the decision is.
After review, the play has been reversed. The receiver's feet were out of bounds. Second down.
Okay, it was close.
Tom McCabe, the referee, giving the signal, so that hurts for the Owls. We'll get one more look at it.
Yep. Now, did he have control of the football as well? Watch at the very end. Yeah, the ball was coming out there too, but I think the review was totally whether the foot was on the out-of-bounds mark, white stripe.
So Randy Etzel's club wins that one. Second down and 10. UConn scored a touchdown on its first possession today. Since then, the Huskies have scored only 3 points on a 47-yard Tony Choravino field goal. Adam DeMichael fakes right, hands off on the draw to Harper, and a nice stay-at-home play.
Cody Brown. Cody Brown, the defensive end out of Coral Springs, Florida. He was all over that one.
Temple is just 2 of 6 on third downs today. And with 3:21 to go, it will be third down and 10 just across the 40-yard line. Speaking of the MAC, Scout Inc. ranked Temple's 2007 recruiting class the #1 recruiting class in the MAC. UConn showing blitz, but instead they rush 4. DeMichael rolls left, looks, throws deep down the sideline. Wide open is Francis. He's got it inside the 10. Touchdown! For only the second time this season, the UConn defense has given up a touchdown.
And that Temple sideline is going crazy. Boy, that's the worst thing that could possibly happen on a scramble like that when they were playing a 2-deep zone and the safeties kind of got out of whack. And there's a former secondary coach in the NFL and in college, and he is not going to be pleased with that.
Well, by my calculation, that ends a 127-minute and 53-second scoreless drought tossed up by the UConn defense. The first points given up in 127 minutes and 53 seconds, and the last one's given up on a kickoff return. So just like that, with 2:49 to go in the game, The Temple Owls, a 29-point underdog, find themselves down by 3.
Now watch the replay here and watch to the right of the screen, number 66. That's Andre Douglas. He might have got away with a little hold right there. But again, that was Delliston, the safety. They were in a 2-deep zone, and he just got disoriented on the scramble.
So Bruce Francis with his first touchdown catch of the season. He has 3 catches today. He entered the day with 2 catches for 31 yards. And for Adam DeMichael, that is his 3rd touchdown pass of the season. And this crowd is stunned.
Well, you know, I'm stuck watching the game here. This is just an amazing turnaround for Temple. And again, let's give Temple all the credit. These kids, these young kids playing 18 true freshmen, they have really come to play here today.
So let's see if UConn can get some points on the board in the remaining 2:49 of the half. 59-yard touchdown pass from DeMichael to Francis. Back deep to return the kickoff. Here's Branch. And he gets it all the way out to the 45-yard line. So outstanding field position for the Huskies.
Now last week in the 2-minute situation, UConn had a great 2-minute drive to score, and that really turned that game around. And I think, again, Lorenzen has been very, very good in 2-minute situations. At junior college, he was used to a no-huddle offense, so he's very comfortable in this 2-minute situation.
Lorenzen on the handoff. Across midfield. Stop made by George Coleman. And also Bruce McDonough Hale's first carry of the season for Andre Dixon, sophomore from New Brunswick, New Jersey, who had been suspended in the preseason for violation of team rules and was just reinstated last Sunday. Lorenzen to throw wide open, but he overthrew his man. The tight end, Browse.
Yeah, he knew it. As soon as he let it go, he realized, I think sometimes, you know, the wind kind of gets in the quarterback's head a little bit. He definitely is throwing into a breeze and put a little bit too much on that ball.
Huskies 4 of 8 on 3rd down. They don't want to have to give the ball back to the Owls before the half ends. 3rd down and 4. Handoff. Dixon. And he's got the first down, so they stop the clock to advance the chains at the 41-yard line. Interesting decision by Randy Edsall to go with Dixon because of the ineffectiveness of the UConn running game for the entire first half. Hernandez wide to the left. Lorenzen rolls left, throws on the run, and just threw it away to avoid the sack. Pressured on the play by Azubuike. Coming up at halftime, Doug and I will take a look at the outstanding start for the Big East. The fact that 7 of the 8 teams in the conference, including UConn, are undefeated entering today's action. We'll also look at Heisman Trophy candidates. 4 of them are from the Big East. Some others from around the country. Also some first half highlights and stats from what so far has been a shocking development. The Temple trails by only 3. Lorenzen across the middle, very patiently found his receiver Larry Taylor for his 2nd catch of the day at the 25.
Boy, this is a great catch by Larry Taylor. He really caught this totally out with his hands. And again, now they're hustling to the line of scrimmage. The clock won't start until the ball is snapped into the 2 minutes.
Dixon out of the shotgun. Huge gain. All the way to the 18. Picked up about 8 more. UConn has all 3 timeouts left. Time not a factor. 1:36 to go. Haley with the stop. Can UConn go the length of the field in the 2-minute drill to end the half for the 2nd week in a row? Dixon again. First down all the way down to the 11-yard line.
Again, the clock won't start until they get the down markers up there. They're going to be on the line of scrimmage ready to go. Still haven't used a timeout. deja vu from last week. They had a great 2-minute drive against Maine last week, and there's the first timeout.
But Temple will use the timeout on defense. Second timeout for Temple. As we look at Randy Edsall, of course, the date of this game, September 15th, rather ironic because UConn and Temple were supposed to play on September 15th, 2001. We all know what happened 4 days earlier in our country. And Randy Edsall remembers it very well. The game subsequently was postponed, and he told me this week, I remember being in our old facilities building. We were preparing for Temple. I returned to my office and found out what happened in New York City and Washington, D.C., and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And all of a sudden, football didn't seem quite as important. Postponing the game was the right call. It's been very hard to believe that it's been 6 years. So Temple and UConn wound up rescheduling the game, and they played November 24th that year in Philadelphia. Back to throw. Lorenzen looks left, in and out of the hands of Jeffers. Still plenty of time left. 1:16, second down and 10 for the Huskies at the 12-yard line.
Yeah, and again, this throw, one of the few that he hasn't made well. You need to hit him right on the front, the lead number. Watch it right here, thrown just a little bit behind him. That still should have been caught, though, no question about that. That should have been caught.
Hernandez, Browse, and Taylor all lined up to the left. Jeffers right. Dixon the lone setback with Lorenzen. 5-man rush. Lorenzen looks. And he's brought down at about the 15 by McDonough Hales. That's the 4th sack for Temple. Clock running with 1 minute remaining. So it'll be a 3rd down. And it looks like they have to get to the 2, so they need about 14 yards.
You know, and McDonough Hales, look, he was shot out of a cannon. It looked like Lorenzen was maybe going to be able to escape, and man, he came out of nowhere.
Very small for a middle linebacker, 5'11", 225 pounds. Temple got him right out of Philadelphia. Lorenzen to throw on 3rd down. Has his man, Rouse, but he's going to be stopped well short of the 1st down. So let's see if UConn just lets the clock run down and then uses a timeout and kicks the field goal on the final play of the half. Is that what you would do, Coach?
Absolutely. I think, you know, as hard as points have been able to come here, I think that you have to take the field goal right here.
Tony Chervino, 5 of 7 on field goal attempts this year, including a season-long 47-yarder today. And indeed, UConn will use its first timeout with 4 seconds left. The line of scrimmage is the 7. So it'll be about a 24-yard attempt for Chervino. I'm sure Randy Edsall's disappointed that his team will have to settle for 3.
Of course, you know, Randy Edsall doesn't always do the standard thing.
Oh, no.
You know, when we
Don't
did
you and I know.
the Pitt UConn game here last year in the 2nd overtime, he scored to hopefully tie the game, and he went for 2 and won the game. Got it with Hernandez scrambled in the end zone. I thought that was as gutsy as a call as I've ever seen. He just felt they had the momentum. And let's see, but yeah, he's got the field goal team on the field right here. This is the standard call.
24-yard attempt. Martin Bedard to snap. Cullen will hold. Angle will go from right to left. From this distance, Cullen is 1 for 1 this season. And he drills that one through. And that will be the final play of the half. But the Temple Owls, who were embarrassed last week, losing at home 42-7 to Buffalo, came into this game as a 29-point underdog, and they've given the Huskies all they could handle in the first 30 minutes, Doug.
Well, the most important thing to me is they've played with them physically, and that's exactly what Al Golden was looking for.
So a 24-yard field goal by Chervino. He also had a 47-yard field goal. Donald Brown scored on an 8-yard run, but it was the 59-yard pass from Adam DeMichael to Bruce Francis that has the Owls right in it. It's 13-7 UConn in the break. 27 minutes and 53 seconds prior to allowing that touchdown with 2:49 to go in the half. 59-yard pass from DeMichael to Francis. And it will be Jeff Watney, freshman from Ledgewood, New Jersey, kicking off. And back deep to return Larry Taylor and Tyvon Branch. UConn scoring on a 8-yard run by Donald Brown and a 47-yard field goal by Tony Chervino. They never like to let the ball hit the turf on a kick. Branch picks it up off the ground and is brought down by Junior Gillette at the 21-yard line. And from there, UConn will take over. And let's see what adjustments, perhaps in the blocking scheme, in the running game, UConn was able to make at halftime.
You know, just going back to that kickoff again, Temple was kicking into the wind, and that ball just kind of hung up there, and that was a very dangerous situation. And I'm trying to see who is in at Dixon. Dixon at running back. You wonder if possibly there's been an injury with Donald Brown. We haven't seen him since the first quarter.
Dixon 4 carries for 27 yards on UConn's final possession of the half, which resulted in a field goal. Dixon again. Pickup of about 2.5 yards on the play. Because of the suspension of Dixon, UConn really didn't have much depth at all in the backfield prior to today's game. In fact, last week, and their fullbacks never run the ball in this offense. Last week, when UConn was blowing out Maine and Randy Edsall emptied the bench, it seemed like Lou Allen carried the ball on every play in the second half.
He did, and you know the funny thing is we haven't seen much of Lou Allen in this game either.
Allen 1 carry, lost a yard in the first half. Dixon lone setback out of the shotgun, and he'll get the handoff on the draw. Good burst of speed straight ahead. Finally brought down by Anthony Furley in that Temple secondary, but not before Dixon picks up the first down.
And that was a draw play where they brought the guard around. Take a look at it right here. And that's a nice job by LeMagdalene, the guard, on the linebacker, and that's really what springs Dixon.
Magdalene getting the start at left guard because of an injury to right tackle Dan Ryan. Mike Hicks moving from left guard to right tackle today. That time nothing available for Dixon as he was nailed by McPherson right at the line of scrimmage.
And again, that was just a little quick trap play, and he came right under the trap block to make that stop.
Got a 2-yard loss.
You see the tackle pull right there, and he came right under that block. That was a run-down blitz all the way.
Second down, about 11.5. Jeffers wide left. Hernandez slot left, and now he's in motion. Lorenzen looking, and he's going to take off with the ball. And he's got a lot of real estate. Fumbled the football, and Temple says they have it, and they do. Lorenzen fumbled the ball at the UConn 45-yard line.
That Temple sideline, I tell you, UConn better be careful. They keep getting more and more momentum, and if you keep making mistakes, all these freshmen, they're getting excited.
Looks like Omar McDonough Hales forced the fumble.
It's a pretty good collision right here at the very end. Ooh, I guess so.
The ball was recovered by Amara Kamara, his second fumble recovery of the season. So let's see if Temple can take advantage. Great field position for their first possession in the second half. DeMichael on the option. Now he pitches back to Shelton on the end around. Shelton misses one tackler and scoots up the sideline all the way to the 15-yard line before he was shoved out of bounds. Making that first man miss was what sprung the play.
Yeah, there was some, that was going to be a sprint option and a toss back to Shelton, but the timing of the play was total. Watch you see. Oh, I see what happened there. The penetration forced him to go around it. But, again, look at this 10-5 speed here. Once he gets going down that Scott, he can really scoot down that sideline.
30-yard gain for Shelton, the junior from Fort Lauderdale. 2 tight ends for the Owls on 1st and 10 at the 15. Handoff, Harper. And he stood up at the line of scrimmage by Dan Davis with an assist from Danny Lansana.
And I'll tell you, Jason Harper missed a huge cutback lane to his left. That they really had it closed off inside, and he wasn't able to make that cut.
We've played 2 minutes and 15 seconds of the third quarter. Temple down 6, trying to convert the UConn fumble into points. In motion, Crudup. Handoff, Harper. Harper spins And would you believe the Temple Owls, if they make the extra point, will take the lead?
Unbelievable. Ran right through the UConn defense, just gashed them. And a great job by that offensive line of Ferguson, Kadada, Derek Dennis, and Andre Douglas. Look at the gash right here. Nice block by the fullback, Josh Bundy, the only senior on the trip. Wow.
So the Lorenzen fumble sets up a 45-yard touchdown drive and only took 3 plays. And in to attempt the extra point, Jake Brownell. And the Temple Owls, who were 29-point underdogs, find themselves leading UConn couple minutes into the second half. A 14-yard touchdown run by Jason Harper, his second touchdown of the season. And Temple has the lead. We said at the beginning of the telecast that Temple would like to get the ball into the hands of perhaps their best playmaker, Travis Shelton, and they sure did on that drive.
Well, they really did right here on the reverse, and a missed tackle right there by Tyvon Branch. And this guy, remember, now he can fly. He runs 500 meters. He knows what to do with it.
So he gained 30 of the 45 yards on the touchdown drive. Last 14 by Harper. There's your touchdown drive. So UConn, after not giving up a point in 127 minutes and 53 seconds, has now given up 2 touchdowns in 5 minutes and 27 seconds. It's the first time that Temple has had a lead in any game since beating Bowling Green last October 28th, when the Owls ended a 20-game losing streak. A fair catch called for on the kickoff by the tight end Browse. Smart play. And that will give UConn the ball at the 34-yard line. This crowd is stunned. I know you're stunned, Doug, but UConn has almost an entire half to get their act in order.
Well, here's the most shocking thing. Temple is averaging 4.4 per rushing attempt. UConn 2.3. That is incredible.
Lorenzen toss to Taylor on the flat. Breaks 1 tackle and is brought down by McPherson at the 30-yard line. Pickup of about 2. Taylor, like Shelton, is the player that UConn would love to get the ball into his hands, particularly in the open field.
Yeah, he's very good. But the way Temple is running to the football on defense, I mean, their pursuit angles and mainly just their effort getting to the football have been spectacular.
2 wide receivers to the left and 1 to the right. Handoff, Dixon. Dixon kicks outside, turns the corner, and takes advantage of that terrific speed to get all the way to the Temple 47-yard line before Dominique Harris rode him out of bounds. A 17-yard gain.
You know, and that was a very good open field tackle by Dominique Harris. And I have to tell you this, that take a look at it again here, just a little counter play. But Dominique Harris missed a bunch of tackles. Watch him right here, 21. That's a good form tackle on the sideline. He missed a bunch of tackles last week against Buffalo.
1st and 10 UConn. Temple showing blitz, and here they come. Handoff, Dixon very patiently picks the hole and picks up 9 more yards, all the way to the 38-yard line.
But Dixon has really given a spark to this UConn offense since he's come in the game. Suspended for the first 2 games of the season. Quick. And very good. He has good eyes. He reads the hole well.
Now we understand from the UConn athletic communications folks that there's nothing wrong physically with Donald Brown, so it's just a coach's decision. Dixon's done very well, 9 carries for 68 yards. Brown, second-team All-Big East performer last year. Lorenzen avoids the rush, gets outside, picks up the first down before he goes out of bounds.
Nice job of Tyler Lorenzen right there. You know, and going back to Donald Brown, I'm sure the reason that he is standing on his, take a look at, nice little move. He knew what he needed for the first down. Donald Brown missed 2 key blocks where Lorenzen got hit right in the back, and I'm sure that's why he's on the sideline.
Brown 9 carries for 38 yards. Dixon 9 carries for 68 yards. He just entered the game on the last possession of the first half. UConn driving, 1st and 10 at the 32. This time Dixon is stopped right at the line of scrimmage by McDonough Hales, the middle linebacker. There's a look at Brown, who a year ago rushed for 896 yards. He had a 205-yard rushing game against Pitt, a 199-yard rushing game against Rutgers in his first career start, and off the bench in garbage time at 118 yards rushing against Rhode Island.
Yeah, and I felt in the first 2 games of the season, I didn't see him make people miss in the open spaces like he did last year.
Dixon out of the draw play. Nicely played by Jamal Schulters, the nickelback. So UConn will have it 3rd and about 9. The Huskies have converted on 5 of 10 third downs situations so far today.
This is though for Temple is clearly outplaying UConn from, I'd say, late in the first quarter on. That was a corner blitz by Schulters. He was unblocked. But Temple's playing very physical, and they are really running and getting to the football on defense.
Here comes Temple with a 4-man rush. Lorenzen scrambles, and he's going to be brought down by Azubuike right at the line of scrimmage. So UConn had 5 men blocking 4, but Temple still put on tremendous pressure to disrupt the play.
Yeah, that was Junior Gillette, the number 99, who got the initial penetration. And you know, really, Lorenzen, take a look at it right here. Look at the penetration right here by Gillette. And of course, and that was Neblett, who we've seen all over the field in this ball game up to this point. Here's the field goal try.
This will be about a 50-yard attempt into the wind. He made a 47-yarder in the first half, and he's got it. Wow. Tony Cherubino with a 47-yarder and now a 50-yarder, and it didn't take UConn very long to regain the lead. The Temple defense stalled the UConn drive, but UConn does get some points out of it, and UConn regains the lead 16-14. Cherubino 3 for 3 on field goal attempts today. 47 yards, 24 yards, and now a season-long 50 yards. Tony Cherubino has given UConn a 16-14 lead after Temple had taken the lead. And there's a look at the Owls' offensive mastermind all the way to your right, offensive coordinator George DeLeon, a UConn graduate.
A UConn graduate, and of course he's been a long-time offensive coordinator here in the East, Syracuse, Rutgers for a while, and boy, he's done a terrific job getting this Temple offense ready to play. I'm surprised at how well they've been able to run the football against a very tough front of UConn. 97
yards rushing for Temple against a UConn team that had yielded only 39 yards per game on the ground, 39 yards per game on the ground in the first 2 games this year. George DeLeon graduated from UConn in 1970, was the head coach at Southern Connecticut State College at the time, now at Southern Connecticut State University, before becoming an assistant at Rutgers, then on to Syracuse. And for 5 years at Syracuse, he was on the same staff under Dick McPherson with UConn coach Randy Edsall. Cherubino to kick off. Shelton with a chance to run it back. Shelton all the way out to the 33-yard line. Tackle made by Robert McLean, and from there Temple will take over. The Owls have scored 2 touchdowns in a span of 5 minutes and 27 seconds, going back to that score late in the second quarter. Adam DeMichael, quarterback from McKees Rock, Pennsylvania. Handoff Harper. He scored the touchdown in the last possession. Gets it out to the 40. Lawrence Wilson, Dana Delliston with the stop, but not before Harper could pick up 7 yards.
You know, and nothing fancy, nothing scheme-wise. This young offensive line is just coming off the football, getting some movement, and all these backs are running north and south.
A line of Jabari Ferguson, Lloyd Kadada, Alex Darenthal, their best linemen in the interior at center, Derek Dennis and Andre Douglas. Francis wide left, Crudup wide right. Second down and 3. Harper again has the first down.
Wow.
Huge hole up the middle. cuts to his right. Finally brought down by Branch with an assist from Lutris all the way down to the UConn 32-yard line.
Same play as 1st and 10. Nothing fancy, just the inside zone play. And take a look at this hole that develops right here. The cutback right there. Outstanding block by Darren for center. And off he goes. Nothing fancy. Excellent block by the center.
28-yard pickup by Harper, sophomore from Bud Lake, New Jersey. Crude up in motion, lines up in the slot to the left. Handoff this time Shelton. He ran for 30 yards on his last carry. And this time he picks up about 8 more before he's driven out of bounds at the 25.
Yeah, I think we got a hold up front. I think that they got big number 6. Yep, Devin Tyler out of Suitland, Maryland. 6'7", 285 sophomore. They definitely had him. He was pointing to himself. I did it. I did it. You got me.
So Al Golden's club is pushed back entering the day. They have been penalized 14 times for 93 yards. They had a couple of penalties which really hurt them early in the Navy game. In fact, Darrell Robinson, a true freshman, on his first time he touched the ball as a college player, he got a first down on a pass completion, but it was called back on a penalty on the center Darenthal. DeMichael rolls right, has plenty of time, and he's going to take off with the ball. Cuts back, gets inside the 30 where he gets hit very hard.
Yeah, that was Dana Delliston made a nice open field tackle, but boy, what a play by DeMichael. Now they're very, very makeable. 2nd and about 6.
14-yard pickup. The UConn rush defense entering the day #1 in the Big East and 10th in the country. And that's how much they had given up in the first 2 games per game, and that's how much they've given up today. Here's the handoff. Harper. He's got the first down at the 21-yard line.
Boy, that was just, again, a nice cutback on this very simple zone play. And the left guard, Kadata, had a very, very nice block that really sealed that for him.
He's a true freshman out of West Orange, New Jersey.
Take a look at this cutback. Look at the lane right there. Nice.
Temple with a 2 tight end look. 1st and 10 at the UConn 21. Knocking on the door again. Harper. Straight up the middle, stopped by Lutris. Al Golden said that Harper is a straight liner. He's a one-cut runner, but he has a low center of gravity. We need to get him into the rhythm of the game. It took a while, but he looks like he's got that rhythm now.
Oh, he's right. You're definitely he's definitely on track right now. And the emotion and intensity that it takes to play this game, you can't turn it on and off. It's not like a spigot. And the UConn has not had it, and they are not getting it up to this point in the 3rd quarter.
Temple has scored touchdowns on its last 2 possessions, and they're knocking on the door again. Harper, straight up the middle to about the 12-yard line. Of course, the names change, the coaches change, but keep in mind, and this is going way back before Miami and Boston College and Virginia Tech left the Big East, and the Big East brought in Louisville and USF and Cincinnati. But the Big East kicked Temple out.
Yes.
They weren't competitive. They weren't drawing crowds. They kicked them out and essentially gave UConn its spot. Now, a lot of things happened because the other schools left. So UConn wound up entering the Big East earlier than originally planned, and they played in the same league for 1 year. But there's some very bitter feelings, particularly the old coaching staff at Temple was very bitter about it.
Well, and Randy Edsel just came flying out onto the field to take a timeout right there. They were totally unsettled defensively, and he is not a happy camper with that defense right now.
First timeout taken by the Huskies, who really have been back on their heels in the last 3 Temple possessions.
Yeah, totally on their heels.
Edsel told me this week, Temple tries to give you a lot of different looks and formations. We have to be ready for all of their motion, and that's really the signature of a George DeLeon offense, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it exactly. Because, you know, all the formations force you to simplify defensively, and that's exactly what UConn has had to do.
Jason Harper really has been able to get into the rhythm of the game, and he's got 16 carries for 100 yards.
Wow, 100 yards. I never would have guessed that. And again, the credit goes to the offensive line, and he's running north and south. He is not messing around. He's getting 4, 5, 8, 10, 12 a crack. Not fancy.
3rd and 2, 2 tight ends set in the wishbone. Last 2 times they handed off to McPherson. He's not even in the game this time. They play action, and they hit the man for the first down. Making the catch was Marcellus Grigsby, a junior from Woodland Hills, California. His 5th catch of the year.
Very, very well designed short yardage play. And they really set it up beautifully with the 2 power plays run earlier. And actually, if DeMichael had thrown the football just a hair sooner, he might have been able to score.
1st and 10. Temple just outside the 10, so they can pick up a first down without getting a touchdown. Crude up in motion. Harper. Harper straight ahead for a couple more. Harper has rushed for 104 yards today, and Doug, that means he becomes the first opponent to rush for 100 yards against UConn since Delone Carter did it last November 18th for Syracuse.
Wow. You know, and just looking ahead to the strategy in this game as it moves forward, you know, Temple is going into the wind here in the 3rd quarter. They will have the wind with them in the 4th quarter. That's huge in the kicking game.
2nd down and 7 for the Owls. Michael looked like he might be changing the play. 2 tight ends and some movement. UConn field, yeah, it's going to be a false start on the Owls. Very costly mistake.
Boy, that is exactly where you can't make that kind of mistake. And again, you know, that young offensive line just getting a little bit antsy.
3rd penalty of the day for the Owls, totaling 27 yards. So it's 2nd and 12. They stay with the 2 tight end look and the 1 back, Harper. Handoff, Harper. Tackle made by Wilson at the 8-yard line. So it will be 3rd down and 7. The Owls are 4 for 8 on 3rd downs today. This will be the biggest of those 3rd down opportunities.
Well, it sure will. And just looking ahead a little bit, Jake Brownell, the Temple kicker, is 2 for 2 on field goals up to this point this year,
including a 41-yarder.
Now, the one thing I have noticed with Temple up to this point, they've really had some problems with their long snaps. They're going to have to,
have to use timeout. Using way too much time. So the Owls will use their first timeout of the 2nd half on 3rd and 7 at the 8-yard line. The drive began back at Temple's 33-yard line, and so far they have driven 54 yards.
Yep, and Al Golden, as they came over to the sideline, he was just motioning there, just settle down, just settle down. All these young kids are getting a little excited.
Well, we mentioned that Al Golden inherited a team that went 0-11 in 2005. In his first year, they went 1-11, ending a 20-game losing streak with a win over Bowling Green. And he told me this week, look, we have to change the culture. They've been so accustomed to losing for such a long time, but it is no longer an I am program. He's very pleased, Doug, with the way the young men are doing academically.
Yep.
He feels that represents a dramatic improvement there. He's very pleased with the community service, the commitment to community service. Their center, Alex Darenthal, was just named this week to the American Football Coaches Association Good Works team. But obviously, in the long run, it's going to translate into W's and losses.
He's doing it the right way. He's doing it with young players. He's not going the JC route.
3rd and 7. Crowd imploring the UConn defense to make the stop. 4-man rush. DeMichael rolls left. He's going to keep the ball himself. Spins, and he's short of the first down. Brought down at about the 3. We saw a great big chunk of that turf come up there. Well, now they're going to spot. Where are they spotting the ball? Looks like at about the 3.
Yeah. So to get inside the 1.
Yeah, 4th and a good 2. Maybe a little more than 2. Decision time for Al Golden. I say you kick it.
Oh, yeah, I think you have to. They're taking a lot of hit. Now here comes it took him a long time. He wanted that score, the touchdown, but here comes the field goal team on the field.
Jake Brownell, transfer from the Naval Academy, 5'10", 195-pound sophomore from Thoroughfare, New York. His coach says he's a hard worker and he likes pressure. This will be a 25-yard kick to put his team in front, and he drills it.
Wow. Not the kind of afternoon that Randy Edsel had kind of figured on here, nor the UConn fans, nor anybody else in the country.
So Temple continues to hang around, hang around, hang around. Keep in mind, this is a team that has lost 25 of its last 26 games, and they lead UConn yet again. 17-16. All right, Doug, you've spent your whole life as a coach. Take us into the dynamics of what Randy Edsel might be going through right now with his decision to keep Donald Brown, his second team All Big East tailback, on the sideline.
Well, you know, I'm sure it's not just a total thing on missing 2 blocks here in the opening game, although I got to say he missed those blocks badly. You know, that really could have cost him and did cost him. But, you know, to me, he hasn't quite been the same runner this season that I saw last year in doing their games. He really hasn't made people miss, and I don't know what all has come up to this decision, but it looks like it's going to continue for the rest of this game.
Into the wind, the kick is short.
They lost
Bad scramble for the ball.
That ball was out. Boy, again, kicking into that
UConn
wind.
ball.
Boy, UConn came up with it. Boy, they dodged the bullet right there.
I mean, we obviously can't hear from here what may have been said on the field, but if you're one of those deep guys and you see the ball short and you think you can catch it, you got to yell mine, 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 and get the big guys out of the way.
And that's it. And the big guys have to understand that, you know, they're kicking into the wind, and they really should move the whole kickoff team up, further up. Boy, they were very, very. Oh, look at that. Very fortunate right there.
Anthony Davis, the fullback, 47, tried to field it. Looked like Ranch thought he could get it from the back. Here's Taylor in the flat. Brought down at about the 37, pickup of 6. Stop made by Dominique Harris, the sophomore strong safety from Washington, D.C. Back and forth they go. UConn led 10-0. Temple took a 14-13 lead early in the third quarter. UConn regained the lead on a field goal, and Temple just took the lead again on a field goal. Handoff to Dixon. Huge hole around the right side. Dixon with lots of daylight all the way to the Temple 36-yard line before he's brought down by Harris again.
That's just that little counter play that they have been running with a lot of success. Take a look at it. Watch the backside guard pulled around right there, and a nice job of Dixon breaking it outside.
27-yard pickup. Dixon has certainly done his part off the bench, and he's going to get the ball again. This time picks up about 3 more to the 33-yard line. The problem in the second half offensively, Doug, is UConn has had no balance, no pass-run balance. They've actually run the ball much more effectively in the second half.
Yes, they have.
And they haven't been able to stop Temple when the Owls have the ball. Dixon. In the middle of the field to about the 32, so this will leave a third and about 5.5 to go.
Yeah, he missed his cut there. There's no question about it. Dixon definitely missed his cut. He had a huge gash to the right, and he cut it back, and the cutback was not there.
Temple repeatedly, Doug, keeps sending in fresh troops on the defensive line on third down and passing situations.
Donald Brown back in the game.
He's lined up in the backfield, the lone setback with the quarterback, Lorenzen, out of the shotgun. Here comes Temple on the blitz. Lorenzen throws. Circus catch by Cunyu at the 11 for the first down. Brad Cunyu had a 6-catch evening last Saturday in the win over Maine.
That was absolutely, I mean, that really bailed out UConn because this was not an easy catch.
Might have sailed in the wind, huh?
It absolutely did sail in the wind. He made a one-hand and got the left hand up.
Randy Edsel told me this week that Cunyu can catch the ball across the middle. We want to make him a more integral part of our offense. There's Donald Brown with the carry.
And I would be remiss if I didn't say this. On that third down conversion right there, Donald Brown threw an excellent block on the defensive end.
Ball will be spotted at the 5. Second down and about 3. But they will go down the other end of the field because the third quarter has come to an end. The Temple Owls, who have one win in their last 26 games, have made the trip from Philadelphia to East Hartford, Connecticut, and have put a serious challenge into UConn's attempt to get off to its first 3-0 start since 1999. The big third down conversion has kept this drive alive for UConn. Doug talked about the block by Donald Brown. It helped free this pass from Lorenzo DeCunyu. Fourth quarter coming up. Quarter have given Temple a 17-16 lead as we enter the fourth quarter. Bob Picozzi and Doug Graber at Rentschler Field in East Hartford, Connecticut to begin the fourth. It will be second down and 4 for UConn at the Temple 5-yard line.
You know, and it was interesting that Brown came back in after Dixon missed his cut on that one run.
Brown gets the handoff. Changes direction. Keeps the legs forward. What a great second effort by Brown for the go-ahead touchdown. I don't think he wants to come out of the game again. What do you think?
Oh, I think he's had enough of standing on the sideline over there. I mean, he hit that up over the right side. It was totally wadded up. He had no chance there. He just kept the legs driving.
You go for 2 here, Coach?
Absolutely.
Try to restore a 7-point lead?
Absolutely.
Looks like UConn is thinking about it.
Yeah, they're definitely going for 2.
So Brown with his second touchdown of the day and his third of the season.
Yeah, and you know, all coaches have that chart on the sideline.
The famous chart.
It starts in the third quarter, the famous chart, and it says go for 2.
Empty backfield. 3 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right, plus the tight end. Lorenzen, here comes the blitz on the quarterback draw. He's not going to get there.
Boy, this Temple defense just keeps swarming to the football.
Amara Kamara made the stop. But Donald Brown's 5-yard touchdown run with a tremendous second effort as he kept those legs pumping. And UConn has regained the lead again. So, Doug, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 lead changes in the second half.
Look at the balance and look at the leg drive right here. That's a 650-pound deadlift. That's leg strength, and that's what he's got. Boy, I tell you, they swarmed him, and he just kept, he slams that ball down. Says it's about time.
Just to show you what the magnitude of a victory for Temple today would be. But first of all, we're going to take a look at the 2-point conversion. UConn operating with the empty backfield. First time all day they've done it, right?
Yeah, and this was quarterback draw all the way. And Temple played a zone, and they stayed home, and they were ready for it.
Doug, before Al Golden was the coach at Temple on November 13th, 2004, Temple beat Syracuse that day, 34-24. Since then, they've won 1 game. That was last October 28th, when under Al Golden, they beat Bowling Green 28-14. They've won only 1 of their last 26 games.
Wow.
They trail UConn by 5. If they could somehow manage to get out of here with a win, it would be one of the great wins in the last decade for the Owls.
Oh, they got a gash here. Look
Shelton.
out. Look out.
He's got a lane up the right side, dragged down and out of bounds by McLean at the 47-yard line. Oh, what a threat he is at returning kicks.
Well, that was a great open field tackle by McLean, because if he doesn't make that play, he's out. He's gone. He is gone if this play is not made by McLean.
44-yard return. A year ago, Travis Shelton averaged 196 yards per game in all-purpose yardage. He would have led the country if he had played in enough games, but he only played in 6 games, and that wasn't enough to qualify for that title. Here's Shelton out of the shotgun. Out of the tailback spot on first down, not out of the shotgun. Is that a busted play?
Absolutely a busted play, and that's the one downside of doing this. George DeLeon really moves players around and tries to put them in different positions. Shelton, of course, was at tailback that time, but they've had wide receivers line up at tailback, fullback, just to try to get them the ball in different situations. Now remember, Temple has the wind the whole fourth quarter here.
And it appears to be a substantial win. We've seen a number of plays today in the passing game and the kicking game where it's been affected by the wind. Francis wide left, Crude up slot left. Again, Shelton is the tailback. And this time he'll get the ball. Cuts to the left, gets a block from Crude up. Might have had an illegal block from Crude up. Penalty marker on the play, and let's see if they're going to get number 15 for a hold.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. That's going to be the call.
Holding on the offense, number 15.
Yep.
10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat, second down.
Costly penalty for the Owls with 14:30 remaining and UConn leading 22-17.
Now take a look at number 15 right there. Or is it?
Yeah, that was it.
That was it. No, it was just
on Lutris.
On Lutris. He was trying to. That's what happens. You get a wide receiver trying to block a big old 230-pound linebacker in space, and he just latched onto him.
Now Harper back in the game at tailback, replacing Shelton. And he's the lone setback behind McMichael. Now here comes all that motioning and switching that we told you about. On second down. Handoff, Harper. And he's met at the line of scrimmage by Rob Lund, the junior from Penfield, New Jersey, or New York rather, made the first hit. 2-yard pickup. Lund had a big game last week against Maine.
He really did. I thought he was outstanding against Maine last week. And that time, the line of scrimmage did not move. UConn, the defensive front, attacked. They were in good position. And now Lund goes out of the game.
Here's what Temple has done on third down today. 3 wide receivers to the left. Tight end to the right. Lone setback is Grigsby.
Blitz.
And on the blitz, they're going to get him. The finishing touch applied on the blitz, I think, by Deliston, but Lansana made the penetration as well.
Well, the key issue there was the holding penalty, because if you put Temple in long yardage situations, that's what they struggle with. Pass protection, and I saw that on tape. Take a look at it. I mean, he had no chance on that particular play. Speaking of the Mike.
Second sack of the day for the Huskies, and into punt with the wind at his back, fielding that low snap is Watney. He'll drive Taylor back, and it comes to a stop at the UConn 23. So the Huskies have the ball and a 5-point lead with 12:35 to go. Boy, would they love to let Donald Brown run the ball with some effectiveness the rest of the way. So loves to run the football. Is that what the Huskies will try to do here with the lead with 12.5 to go?
Especially the fact that they're going into the wind. I would be shocked if I don't see them just come off the ball and pound it. And Andre Dixon is back in the game at tailback.
Well, he certainly gives them a different look than Brown does. And Dixon will pick up perhaps 4 yards off right tackle. So Dixon is over the 100-yard mark.
Yeah, nothing fancy there. Just again, just running the inside zone play, man-on-man blocking, get after it up front.
Again, Dixon reinstated last Sunday. He had been suspended before the season for violation of team rules. Gets the handoff again, and is tripped up on the play.
You know, that was the safety. So that was George Coleman, number 29. But again, Temple, they know what the game plan is here. They're going to get that safety up in the box to try to get 8 in the box, even against the spread.
3rd and 1 for the Huskies. They're 6 of 12 on third downs today. Now they have the fullback in Davis to block for Dixon.
Wow.
He got enough of a block for Dixon to pick up the first down. Heavy hit applied by Tommy Weatherspoon.
Yeah, I guess that was a heavy hit. That was a classic form tackle right in the middle of the hole.
Temple entered the game 100th in the country in scoring defense. They've yielded 36 points per game. Allowed 42 points last week to Buffalo.
They're going to measure this. This is a little closer than I think we thought. It's a pretty good collision by Weatherspoon. Wow.
Doesn't have it.
Ooh.
You can't gamble here, can you?
Oh, absolutely not. And of course, not only that, but you have to punt into the wind. And you know what? They're going for it. I bet they're going to try to draw them off sides.
But you love the crowd's reaction. If you pulled the crowd, they would want you to throw long on every play and blitz on every play.
And I see the
just make sure it works.
Remember now, there's a lot of young players up front for Temple. I would expect them to try to draw them off sides here.
Quite a gamble. The downside, you're giving Temple the ball at the 32-yard line.
I don't think he got it.
And I'll tell you what,
I don't think he got it.
The field conditions didn't help at all there.
No.
Lorenzen slipped.
He sure did.
Didn't get any kind of footing.
Boy, this is going to depend on the spot, but it really did not look like he gained an inch.
What do you think about that decision to go for it there?
Well, you know, again, Randy, and he's shown in the past, he doesn't always do exactly what you think he's going to do. I wouldn't have, but again, he's thinking of a lot of things. He's punting into the wind. Take a look at it. Well, that was the tight end that got beat on the slant.
Well, here's the measurement.
Boy, you talk about a big, big measurement.
Hope they can measure it with the field conditions. Didn't come close.
Boy, the Temple sideline is, they are fired up now. Look out.
Well, a lot of coaches feel that you don't go for it for fourth down unless you have to. And obviously, with this much time left, with the 5-point lead, and the field position has everything to do with it. If it were the other 32-yard line, different story. But Randy Edsall gambled against Pittsburgh last year in overtime, went for the 2-point conversion when it was, if we get it, we win. If we don't get it, we lose. And UConn had its biggest win of the year.
You know, and a lot of it, the decision making is what you're doing on offense too. Especially if you're an option team, you're much more likely to go for it on fourth down.
Handoff Harper. It was a bad exchange. Harper juggled the ball. Picked up a couple. Darius Butler and Robert Vaughn made the stop.
And I'm a little bit surprised that offensive coordinator DeLeon did not open with the play action pass. That has been very, very effective on 1st and 10.
Temple trails by 5, 10:30 remaining. 2nd down and 8. Out of the shotgun, Adam DeMichael. Scrambles, throws on the run, and it's intercepted. Intercepted by Robert Vaughn. What a huge play that is. His 2nd interception of the year. The 2nd turnover of the day for Temple.
Huge, and it really bails Randy Edsall and UConn out right there. And of course, that's the classic mistake by DeMichael on the scramble, throwing back across your body. He never saw the safety. He never saw Robert Vaughn. Take a look at it right here. There's the receiver open, but he never saw the safety sitting there, and there it is.
Pass intended for Darrell Robinson, the 5th interception of the year for DeMichael. So now it kind of takes the focus off that decision to go for it on 4th down by UConn. Donald Brown back in. Picks up a couple of tough yards up the middle. Kamara made the stop. Al Golden says Kamara studies football every day. He's here late at night watching tape of opponents. He runs well laterally, and he's very good in pressure situations. He had 10 tackles last week against Buffalo. Out of the shotgun. Brown. Looks like he lost his footing again.
Just lost his footing.
Well, the field's in much better condition today than it was last Saturday against Maine, but it is hardly in good condition.
No. And again, wholesale substitutions by Temple. This is a big third down play here for UConn.
Huskies 6 of 13 on third down. They need about 5.
See Donald Brown very upset on the sideline there.
Dixon is in. 2 wide receivers to the left and 2 to the right. 5-man Temple rush. Low snap, and Lorenzen will have to eat it.
Well, if you just keep giving this Temple team chances, they're going to get you. And remember, they have the wind.
Bad snap by Keith Gray.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with the field conditions.
No, it had nothing to do with it. And again, that's not a good snap. But the quarterback there really has to bend his knees and get down the field that football.
Cullen punting into the wind here, Doug.
Roughing the kicker.
Fair catch signal for. Yep. Now, will it be roughing or running into? If it's roughing, it'll be an automatic first down.
Yeah, it's all going to depend now on
roughing the passer.
That's personal foul.
On the defense.
Wow.
15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
What a mistake by Temple.
Well, Temple has made 2 mistakes in a row now. The interception on the scramble, and that was a huge mistake right here. Take a look at it. Well, yeah, that's very foolish by Temple. That really was really foolish, especially when you consider they were punting into the wind.
Looked like 2 Temple players got in one another's way. That doesn't make any difference. In college football, it doesn't make any difference if you are sent into the punter by an offensive player's block. It's your responsibility to avoid the punter. If you don't, it's a penalty.
Dixon in at running back.
So UConn getting a 3rd chance now to run some time off that clock.
Boy, Lamar McPherson was all over that one.
Crowd getting a little restless here. There's a look at Dixon out of New Brunswick, New Jersey, right in the shadows of the Rutgers campus. Rutgers a little bit later this afternoon will be taking on Norfolk State. Scarlet Knights ranked 13th in the country. Will try to extend the record to 3-0. Louisville will try to do the same tonight against Kentucky in a game that you can see on ESPN Classic. Lorenzen rolls left, throws left, has his man Hernandez. Stopped at the 40, about 5.5 yards shy of the first down. Harris and Kamara with the tackle.
Sets up, another. This is the 3rd down in this series, a crucial 3rd down opportunity for UConn.
Taylor coming in. Let's see if they try to get the ball into Taylor's hands in the open space where he's so effective. Wide right, Cunyu. Tight end Brouses in the slot to the right. Jefferson Taylor to the left.
I'd watch for Taylor on a crossing route.
Lorenzen throws. Instead it was Jeffords on the crossing route. In and out of his hands.
Taylor cleared and Jefferson ran the crossing route. I knew by their splits that one of them was going to be the primary receiver on a crossing route. And that was a misfire by Lorenzen, no question about it, because he had him open.
So UConn has had 3 chances now, Doug, to run some time off the clock and has really run very little time off the clock. Cullen punting into the wind again. No roughing this time, and a fairly effective punt into the wind. Juggled by Robinson. And Robinson will be brought down to the 28-yard line with 6:49 to go. Temple needs a touchdown to win it. And when it comes to winning, it's something that Temple has only done once since November 13th, 2004. Boy, are they hungry. Golden took over as coach. Doug, what would a win today over UConn mean for that?
Well, this would absolutely, be huge in the 2nd year of the program. It would be tremendous in recruiting. They're all good things for Temple. You'd like to say no matter what happens, it's been great for them, but they need a win.
First down, Temple. Handoff. Tremendous penetration by UConn.
Boy, that's not a way to start a series.
Loss of 2 on the play. Cody Brown in on the stop. Plenty of time, 6:33. But the reality of it is, Doug, is with the exception of that 59-yard touchdown pass, Temple really is not in any kind of mixture of pass and run. It's been all run oriented.
Yeah, but they had success with play action on 1st and 10.
2 tight ends on 2nd and 12. DeMichael has time, throws right. Incomplete. In and out of the hands of Francis. Branch with the coverage.
See, this is exactly the situation that Temple does not need to be in. 3rd and long now, and you know that UConn is going to pin it back whether they rush 4 or blitz. This has been a real problem area for Temple. They're just so young up front. They just have a really tough time pass protection.
4 of 10 on 3rd downs. DeMichael 5 of 11 for 97 yards, 59 of them on the touchdown pass to Francis.
Let's
5-man rush. Complete, but it'll be well short of the 1st down. Francis stopped at the 32, 8 yards shy of the 1st down. And with 5:59 to go, Temple will have to kick it.
And that was Cody Brown that made that tackle. That was a zone blitz, and that was the defensive end in coverage, and he made a great play at the open field. He looked like a linebacker right there.
Watney into punt with the wind at his back. He's averaging 43.8 yards on 5 punts today. Larry Taylor back at the 25 to return it. Taylor will have a chance to run it back from his own 18. Outruns Shelton. He's knocked out of bounds at the 38-yard line. So this is the 4th time that UConn has had the ball with an opportunity to run some time off the clock in the last 7 minutes. Will they be more successful this time? They have a 5-point lead with 5:17 remaining. Temple and UConn since Temple left the Big East following the 2004 season. And as we take a look at our game summary, big story of the game, Temple's ability to run the ball against UConn, and most of those UConn rushing yardage have come here in the second half, Doug.
Yeah, they really have. And but that 2nd quarter just went all Temple. They did a nice job.
Let's see if UConn can run the ball here. They would love to run the ball for the next 5 minutes and 17 seconds and get out of here with a 3-0 record. Out of the shotgun, Lorenzen looks left, throws across the middle. Jeffers was wide open. First down at midfield.
Lorenzen took a tremendous shot as he delivered that football. Tremendous shot. Nice job of hanging in there.
12-yard pickup for Jeffers, who was 8th in the Big East in receiving yards. He had 2 touchdown catches against Maine last Saturday. UConn shut out Maine last week. It was its first shutout since September 10th, 2005 against Liberty. Here's Dixon, who's been a big story off the bench today. Pickup of 6 that gives him 114 yards rushing and 19 carries today.
Yep, that's again that little counter play, and that was the backside tackle Mike Hicks, who of course had been guard previous to this game, and he stayed right on Hicks's outside hip.
And a big hip it is. He's 6'6", 336 pounds from Seymour, Connecticut. Dixon for the first down to the Temple 37. Amara Kamara made the stop.
Yep, same play going the other way. That was Alex Delane that led the way for Dixon, the left guard.
Sophomore from Rumson, New Jersey, is LaMagdalene. An 8-yard pickup for Dixon as we approach the 4-minute mark. UConn with its Big East opener next Saturday at Pittsburgh, 7 o'clock at Heinz Field. Handoff, Dixon. Moves straight ahead for 8 more. This is exactly what UConn wanted to do when they got the ball back with 5:17 left.
That sure is, and of course the clock is running down to 3:50 and moving. And you know, just think of this: if Claravino, the UConn kicker, does not hit those 2 long field goals today, they are in big trouble right now.
Hit a 47-yarder, a career long in the first quarter, and then eclipsed that with a 50-yarder. Together, Brown and Dixon have combined to rush for a bunch of yards. Here's a penalty marker on the play, and Dixon's pushed out of bounds.
And I think we're going to get a hold. Yep.
10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat, second down.
So this will push it back. Randy Edsall has played 17 true freshmen already this season. Only has 2 seniors who sees significant playing time on offense. Donald Thomas, the starter at right guard, and Larry Taylor, who's part of a 4-man rotation at the wide receiver spot. Last year, they started 21 different players on offense.
Yeah, they never had the same starting offense on the field 2 weeks in a row. It changed every single week.
And it's changed every week so far this year because of injuries on the offensive line to Lawrence Green and Dan Ryan. Hernandez left. Hernandez makes the catch from Lorenzen on the left at the 35-yard line as we approach the 3-minute mark.
This sets up a huge 3rd and 8. Because again, the clock is going to be down inside of 3 minutes when they snap this ball. And you know, if they convert this one, then that's really going to make it tough on Temple if they don't get a turnover. Well, Temple does have 2 timeouts left. They're certainly going to start thinking about using those.
1 wide receiver to the left and 2 to the right. Rouse, the tight end, in motion.
Donald Brown.
Lorenzen throws left. Completes it. Rouse reached ahead, but I don't think he got the first down.
Well, and this really sets up an interesting decision now, because remember, they're kicking into the wind.
So it'd be about a 45-yard field goal into the wind. That'd be tough.
No, looks like the field goal team.
Nope.
Yeah, they're going to go for it. I think this is a good decision, because I don't. It's just into that wind. Too long.
Looks like they brought Lou Allen in. He's their power back. So no Donald Brown, no Dixon. Instead, it will be Davis, the fullback, and Allen at 6'2", 238 pounds, lining up as the tailback. And he'll get the football. This ball is going to be very close. He was hit by Terrence Knighton, the junior from nearby Windsor, Connecticut.
This is going to be real close. Clock is down to 2:36, by the way.
Obviously stopped for the measurement.
Just an off-tackle power play. He really missed his cut a little bit. Watch this. He should have cut up inside sooner. He had a gash inside, but I'll tell you
what. I think he's a little short.
Yep. And Terrence Knighton did a tremendous job getting that penetration right there. Wow.
He is short. So Temple gets the ball back with 2:36 to go on the change of possession. The clock won't start until the ball is snapped. That was the old rule.
Yep.
They changed it last year. Coaches didn't like it at all.
Oh no, especially not in this situation. Right. I mean, that play clock starts that early.
Right.
That's tough. Now they have 2 timeouts left, and again, now this. They're not really a throw kind of team.
Need a touchdown. Field goal won't help.
Touchdown, and this offensive line will really be tested right here to protect.
DeMichael on the screen. In and out of the hands of Harper. That might have been just as well, because he really didn't have much real estate to negotiate. UConn has certainly had more chances than Temple today. Look at that. They've had 28 more snaps of the ball.
And a lot of that yardage differential, though, the per play 5.8 came on that one long pass.
59-yard completion. Yep. Touchdown. Empty backfield for DeMichael. 3 wide receivers left, 2 to the right. Let's see how many guys go after the quarterback here. Only 4. But they get penetration nonetheless. DeMichael will scramble. They'll try to get out of bounds, no doubt, and does, stopping the clock at the 39-yard line. It looks like he got the first down. Smart quarterback, huh?
Yep, very smart. And you're right. He did get the first down, and he knew exactly what he had to do to get it. And he is a smart player. He's a good player, too. And again, that was Andre Douglas, the right tackle right there that just got beat badly inside by Cody Brown.
Michael passed for 6,471 yards in his high school career. He was the Pennsylvania Player of the Year in both football and basketball senior year in high school. Wants to throw here. Scrambles. This is going to be a clock eater.
Yeah, they really should take a timeout.
We have 2 timeouts left, 2:10 remaining. Lansana and Branch. Good coverage by the UConn secondary. Clock will continue to run. 2 minutes left. UConn up by 5. Temple's 62 yards away. We're taking too much time here.
Yeah, they really are. There's definitely some confusion. The backs lined up on the wrong sides.
DeMichael throws left into the flat to the tight end. Armstrong, did he get out of bounds? Yes, he did. That's his first catch of the day. Tight end really hasn't been a part of this offense today. Not much of a pickup though.
No, that's the only good thing that happened with that play is he was able to get out of bounds, because now you got the 3rd and a real long 8. And again, I would think that you're definitely thinking you're 4 downs here all the way out. No question about that.
Now the crowd imploring the UConn defense. If they can make one more stop, perhaps the game will be theirs. 1 wide receiver left and 2 to the right. UConn, 6 men coming after the passer. The pass is caught to Cruda. First down. Clock will stop until they advance the chains with 1:35 to go.
Yep, and Temple's hustling right up to the line. They're going to be ready to go.
Ball at the 46-yard line. Now the clock resumes with 1:30 to go. 13-yard pickup. UConn's going to get hit with a penalty for too many men on the field. This is a freebie. This is a freebie for DeMichael. Throwing right and just throws it away. Now there's another. Now there are 3 flags. Are they all for the same infraction? Clearly, UConn tried to get a player off the field and didn't.
Yep, and that's always the problem when you try to substitute in a 2-minute situation to try to keep, fresh defensive linemen on the field.
Now, one thing that did happen is DeMichael took an awful lot of time on that play. Time they don't have.
Illegal substitution on the defense, number 26. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Yep.
So the good news is they pick up 5 yards. The clock stops.
But you were absolutely right, Bob. Had DeMichael realized what the penalty was, you definitely want to take a shot down the field right there.
1:15 remaining when the ball is snapped at the UConn 41. Field goal won't help. DeMichael throwing, complete to Harper. Harper will try to get out of bounds. He turns the corner. He's at the 20, all the way to the 15-yard line with a 1:05 remaining.
Wow.
If he's out of bounds there, they'll get it on the free.
What a football game this has been. And the Temple Owls are taking it to UConn right now.
26-yard pickup for Jason Harper, who got a great block in the open field there.
Yep, he took Darius Butler out as well. 2 UConn defenders get it with the 1 block.
1 wide receiver to the left and 2 to the right. Temple still has 2 timeouts left. Handoff Harper. We'll probably use a timeout here. Stopped at the 11, and indeed Al Golden signals for time with 58 seconds left. So now what's the defensive approach here? If you're Randy Edsall and UConn defensive coordinator Todd Orlando, you have to keep them out of the end zone.
Well,
you rush 4.
I think you come back. I don't think you want to play man-to-man down here. I think because this quarterback can scramble and make plays, I think you want to play zones. I definitely think this is a great place for UConn to run some of their zone blitzes, which they've had some success with today. And but boy, I'll tell you what, the whole ball game now, you've got 3 plays here, and of course you can get a potential first down as well. But tremendous pressure right now on this UConn defense.
Temple's got plenty of time left. 58 seconds plus a timeout. Of course, you can always stop the clock by throwing the ball away or by getting out of bounds or by spiking.
This would be the biggest win for this Temple program in many years.
Out of the shotgun. They have the tight end blocking in the backfield. DeMichael rolls, throws, just threw it away. Wanted Marquise Liverpool in the corner of the end zone, but he was double covered.
Yeah,
52 seconds left.
That was very well played, and you know, again, the pressure on the quarterback. He really didn't have much of an opportunity. That was a smart play right there.
So they need 7 yards for the first down. It's third down with 52 seconds left. Liverpool comes off the field. Again, Temple has won only one of its last 26 games. Crudup wide left. He made a big catch on third down earlier in this drive. DeMichael rolling, throws, underthrown. He was pressured, wanted to hit Crudup, and it will all come down to this fourth down.
Well, he had Crudup wide open coming across the field. I don't know that he would have got the first, but it would have been close. But again, the pressure just too much. That was Dan Davis.
And Cody Brown.
Cody Brown. What can Brown do for you?
Right. Well, one more stop, and UConn will dodge a big bullet. Fourth down and 7. They have to get just inside the 6 with 50 seconds left. Francis to the left, Crudup wide right. 2 tight ends to the right. Toss. On the reverse, it's Crudup. He wants to throw the ball. He does throw in the end zone for the quarterback. And it's incomplete. It's caught by Francis, but he's out of the end zone. How about that on fourth down? They call a reverse, and they have Dion Crudup, the sophomore from New Haven, going against the grain, rolling to his left and trying to hit the quarterback, DeMichael, in the end zone. Wow.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got to give UConn credit here because they had it well covered. They played a zone and they were all over it. He's very, very well covered. Now watch this ball tip. Does he get a foot in bounds here? Oh, this is going to be reviewed. I think that's a touchdown.
I do too.
I think this is going to be a touchdown.
Remember, college football only need to get 1 foot in.
Unbelievable play. Take a look at it. You make the call.
Well, that was one ugly delivery, wasn't it?
That wasn't pretty.
Well, we really can't tell from that angle.
I think he's got his foot in. I think that's touchdown. Officials missed the original call.
So did I.
This is going to take a while because this is the game.
Got to get it right.
They're going to be absolutely sure on this replay. The Big East replay officials are up right next to us here reviewing this right now. Take a look. This is the best view. I mean, I think this is pretty clearly a touchdown right there. No question about it. That he is in bounds with that left foot.
Unless he was juggling it, which we can't tell from
Can't see that, but it certainly doesn't look like he is. And that was Robert Vaughn that made the collision right there with DeMichael, and the ball went flying up in the air.
Well, isn't that as a coach, when your team's on defense and you know the other team's down to a Hail Mary, isn't that what you're always concerned about, the ricochet,
Yep.
which there's really nothing you can do about?
Look at this angle now. Look at this angle. Just can't quite see. Is his left foot in? It sure looks like it is on it. Boy.
Well, on that angle, by the time he actually had control of the ball, we really couldn't see where his foot was because we were screened out by one of the security guards down there.
How about a football game coming down to the total win or loss on a replay call?
And give Francis credit. He stayed with the play.
He did. And from that angle right there, that looks like a definite touchdown. That's a great angle too. Yep. I mean, he did a nice job just tapping his left toe, right there. Now look, right there at his left foot.
But does he have control of the ball at that moment?
See, I think even after that, he tapped his toe down. That's what you can't see, unfortunately, with that call. They're going to take plenty of time on this one because this is.
No, not much is riding on it.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like the decision's near. And you shall hear the same time we do from referee Tom McCabe.
After review, the play stands is called. Incomplete pass.
Wow.
First down.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. And again, I think they go with the initial call on the field unless something definitely shows to overturn it.
Now, keep in mind, now correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, from your experience on the sideline. At this point, Al Gold knows from his staff up here at our level what they think.
Yeah, what they think.
I mean, he really had the worst view in the house. Al did.
Right.
But his assistants up here in a booth adjacent to us, they had the same view we did. So Temple's going to come up short, and UConn is going to escape by dodging a big-time bullet. On 4th and 7, the pass on the reverse from the wide receiver Dion Crudup, intended for the quarterback Adam DeMichael, was deflected and subsequently caught on the ricochet by Bruce Francis. The call on the field was that he was out of the end zone, and following a lengthy video review, the call on the field stands.
Well, there's some real controversy now with this call, and there'll certainly be a lot of discussion on this topic.
So UConn gets out of here with a 3-0 record for the first time since 1999, and they will visit Pittsburgh next Saturday in their Big East opener. And Temple escapes with a heartbreaking, or leaves with a heartbreaking loss and an 0-3 record, and that means the Owls have lost 26 of their last 27 games. Wow.
You know, and when it seems to go that way for a football team, it just seems like you just can't get a break, and they certainly didn't get one right there.
Well, if you think it was sort of dramatic for you at home to wait for that video replay, how nerve-wracking must have been for the head coach of the UConn Huskies. We'll find out. We'll hear from Randy Edsall when we come back.